Flashy, over-the-top movies might not do well come award season, but there is something to be said for their entertainment value. Popcorn flicks like Men in Black, John Wick, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Fast and Furious aren't really about making or consuming art. They're about fast-paced car chases and explosions and aliens with hearts of gold that help us escape reality for a couple of hours. And yet, amidst all of the cheesy one-liners and physics-defying stunts, even these movies contain nuggets of sincerity and moments of emotional depth that keep us coming back for more. Vote up the surprisingly sincere and heartfelt moments in your favorite over-the-top movies below. Actor Tony Todd's improvised monologue at the end of Final Destination Bloodlines brings a surprising amount of depth and heart to the campy horror franchise. Todd played a recurring character named William Bloodworth, whose expertise on death and how to cheat it were vital for the survival of certain characters throughout the various films. At the end of Bloodlines, Bloodworth announces he has terminal cancer and will die shortly, telling the main characters, "I intend to enjoy the time I have left. And I suggest you do the same. Life is precious. Enjoy every single second. You never know when. Good luck." What makes this advice even more heartbreaking is the fact that Todd was secretly battling stomach cancer. He had shared the news with the film's producers, and the directors then gave him free rein to forego the script and say what he wanted to say to the fans. Karen, Lance Reddick, the concierge at the Continental Hotel in New York and faithful right-hand of Winston, meets his demise in the beginning of John Wick, Chapter 4. The character is shot in the heart by the order of the Marquis de Gramont in retaliation for Winston's failure to kill John Wick, Keanu Reeves, in John Wick, Chapter 3 Parabellum. Grasping Winston's hand, Karen's final words are, "It has been an honor, my friend." In real life, Reddick passed away unexpectedly right before the movie premiered, adding an additional layer of sadness to the beloved character's death. Keanu Reeves and director Chad Stahelski dedicated the movie to Reddick in a joint statement after the actor's passing was announced. Like our content? Make sure to follow us. Van Wilder, Ryan Reynolds, may be an irresponsible freeloader who refuses to grow up, but that doesn't mean all of his views on life are bad. He explains to his friend Taj, Kal Penn, that worrying is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do but it doesn't get you anywhere. Pretty solid advice, even if it comes from a 7th-year college senior. Marvel movies are some of the best popcorn flicks in existence, with plenty of engaging characters and sensational storylines to entertain for endless rewatches. However, the movies occasionally offer some poignant observations worth remembering. Vision's line at the conclusion of Avengers: Age of Ultron is one such moment. Before killing the final Ultron robot, Vision talks to Ultron about the fact that humanity, as a whole, is doomed. Vision acknowledges that Ultron is correct, but notes that a thing isn't beautiful because it lasts. Whether you love them or hate them, it can't be denied that the Star Wars prequels are some of cinema's most memorable sci-fi movies. Several sincere moments manage to slip through the lightsaber battles and political dramatics. In Episode 3, after the senators begin to cheer for Chancellor Palpatine's announcement that the Republic will be transformed into a galactic empire, a dismayed Padme says, "So, this is how liberty dies." With thunderous applause. It's one of the franchise's most chilling lines and a frightening reminder of things to come. Galaxy Quest may be a satirical sci-fi comedy with plenty of hilarious hijinks and silly scenes to enjoy, but one of its best scenes is also its most sincere. The movie follows actor Jason Nesmith, Tim Allen, and his involvement with real-life aliens called the Thermians who think his science fiction TV show is a documentary. He and his castmates play along for a time to help them defeat an evil race of aliens, but are forced to confess they are only actors who can't really save the Thermians. In the scene, Nesmith explains that he is an actor who plays a ship captain on TV to entertain people. When the Thermians' leader doesn't understand, Nesmith says, "We pretended. We lied." The explanation deeply distresses the kind alien leader, who feels betrayed by the Galaxy Quest crew. It might seem impossible to choose just one heartbreaking scene from James Cameron's epic film Titanic, but there is a clear winner. As the RMS Titanic sinks, the ship's orchestra members begin to play "Nearer My God to Thee," accepting their fate and choosing to bring what comfort they can to others instead of trying to save themselves. The haunting hymn is cut with scenes of passengers who have also accepted their fates, including a mother and her children and an elderly couple, as well as thousands of others frantically trying to flee the sinking vessel. All animated Disney films are a little over the top by definition, but Lilo and Stitch stands out as one of the best in the media giant's catalog. As the movie's dramatic pursuit shootout in the sky comes to a close, Stitch is handcuffed and agrees to be transported back to space. He surprises the Grand Councilwoman when he asks if he can say goodbye first, explaining that Lilo and her sister Nani are his family. "It is little and broken," he says, "but good. Yeah, still good." Peter Quill, Chris Pratt, and his pseudo-father figure Yondu, Michael Rooker, have a complicated and sometimes downright contentious relationship, but it is certainly more meaningful than the one Peter has with his real father, Ego, Kurt Russell. When Peter meets Ego and learns the powerful being gave his mother the brain tumor that ended her life, he feels as angry and betrayed as one would expect a person to be. In Yondu's final moments he rescues Peter from Ego's exploding planet and tells him, "He may have been your father, boy, but he wasn't your daddy. I'm sorry I didn't do none of it right, but I'm sure glad you're my boy." Then, to an anguished Peter's horror, Yondu sacrifices himself to save him. The final scene of Furious 7 is desperately sad, not just because of the finality of the scripted moment, but because of real-life circumstances. In a nod to where their stories began, franchise regulars Brian O'Connor, Paul Walker, and Dom Toretto, Vin Diesel, are seen driving side by side in a leisurely race as "See You Again" by Wiz Khalifa and Charlie Puth plays in the background. Eventually the pair come to a fork in the road and ride off in different directions, symbolizing their final goodbye. At the time the scene was filmed, Paul Walker had passed away in a single-car traffic collision. His brothers, Cody and Caleb, stood in for the film's remaining scenes and CGI was used in post-production to superimpose Paul's face onto their bodies. The final scene was a touching tribute to both Walker's participation in the hit franchise and the end of his character's storyline. While traveling back in time to stop Boris the Animal, Agent J, Will Smith, watches his father, a colonel in the military, sacrifice himself to save a young Agent K, Josh Brolin. Agent K kills Boris and, realizing the colonel's young son is nearby, goes to him and explains that his dad went to do something very special, and he wanted me to stay here and take care of his best pal. Agent J watches from afar as Agent K neuralizes his younger self. While attempting to recover a powerful device called the Transmooker, OS agents Carmen, Alexa Vega, and her brother Junie, Daryl Sabara, travel to a hidden island where electronics don't work. There they meet a scientist named Romero, Steve Buscemi, who tells them he created a number of miniature hybrid animals with the intent to sell them before he accidentally spilled a growth serum on them. Now afraid of the creatures he made real, he ponders if God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created. Like our content? Make sure to follow us.